Tulsi Gabbard, I tell you what, yesterday, coming out, I mean, just crushing it. The I love it. I do. I love it. I love going after the Obama administration. I love all this making people actually be accountable for Russia collusion and not just a hoax, but actually manufacturing attention about the Russia collusion. Actually, I mean, intelligence, manufacturing intelligence is unbelievable that they did all these things. And holy cow. And also, and thank you, and also the this press conference today with the Defense Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem after the shooting of the Border Patrol agent. So, you know, there's a lot going on. It's a busy day, but I can tell you though, everybody in America is still talking about that Coldplay Kiss Cam, especially after the Fanatic came out Friday night and did his thing with his Gumata. And I mean, the world's talking about that. Everybody's still talking about that. And the reason why I think it is still so pervasive in our culture is not just that this couple got caught cheating, but like I said this morning on America's Newsroom, I think, shameless plug, I think it's because of the HR aspect of it, that this woman was the head of human resources or the chief people officer, as her title was, which is a dumb title. But anyway, she's the head of HR. We have been living in this touchy HR environment as a country, as a nation for years. For years we have, where we've been afraid to say things. We've been walking on eggshells. And that's not only been in the workplace where like you see people walk down the hallway and put their head down and not make eye contact with people because they're afraid to say the wrong thing. But and this particular individual who was the head of HR at this, I don't know if she still has her job or not, but she was all into the diversity, equity, and inclusion. That's how you make for a stronger workforce. I read this interview she gave about it, and it was talking all about that DEI, how the importance of DEI and how we make a strong culture. And that's kind of been America for the last several years. You know, walking on eggshells, touchy-feely, but the people who make the rules were breaking the rules at the same time. So I actually see a lot of parallels in this with America in general, much bigger than this moment that was captured. Like, in other words, if it was a CEO and it was just a random girlfriend, I think it would still be a huge cultural moment. But I think the fact that it's the HR director and it's the CEO of the same company and everybody's always afraid of being sent to HR. You know what I mean? Like, if you work in corporate America, that's always the thing. It's like, well, HR is going to find out. You don't want HR to find out about that. Oh, well, what if human resources? You got to report to HR. And you know, typically, for the most part, and again, my wife works in HR, so I'm not trying to rip on HR people. I'm just saying it is, as Wilford Riley once said on this show, America's HR problem is that we've all kind of felt as if human resources was always watching us, you know, but they were making the rules, but breaking the rules, telling us what to do. You know what I mean? What we could say, what we couldn't say. And then they were breaking the rules. And this woman was in charge, or maybe she still's in charge, of human resources at this company was there to be the chief rule maker as HR. And then she's breaking the ultimate rule. She's sleeping with the boss. You know what I mean? And it just, to me, struck me like this is America in a nutshell, or what it was. And so that moment, caught on that gigantic Jumbotron at that Coldplay concert, was kind of the culmination of all that and maybe the end of it. Like, everybody could take a giant sigh of relief now that is over. That America, that HR America, is gone. It ended really with Trump's election, because with Trump being in there, you can say whatever you want nowadays, and you can, as America, I mean, you still can in the workplace, in many workplaces, but for a lot of workplaces, that whole idea of DEI and walking on eggshells and making people watch stupid training videos that make you feel like you can't make friends at work because you might say the wrong thing, and you can't ask a coworker out because that could be the end of days and times, and all of that in many companies now is over. And companies are openly dropping their stupid DEI policies and saying that it's moronic and it doesn't serve the purpose and it doesn't make us any money. And maybe you felt that way. Maybe you're at a company that still deals in that. where every day you feel like you're walking on eggshells, you probably want to leave. And many people have. We also live in an era now where people just leave, where they just say, I've had it. Enough is enough. With remote work now, or with startup opportunities happening every day, I don't have to put up with this anymore. So I can do something else. And America said that too when we said we're sick and tired of Joe Biden's whole presidency was a gigantic HR, if you think about it. You had the Disinformation Governance Board with Nina Jankowicz, where they wanted to watch what you say, and they were going to take down misinformation and disinformation, hate speech, monitor all those things, look at what you're saying on social media, and if they didn't like it, they would come after you. All right? If you were doing certain things they didn't like, speaking at school board meetings, and we're at the anniversary of that famous letter to moms and in yoga pants at school board meetings, where they said you might be a domestic violent extremist, or if you prayed in mass in Latin, or if you shopped at Cabela's, or if you did any of these things, well, we're watching you. We're keeping an eye on you. Very HR-ish, if you know what I mean. For the country, from the government's perspective on its people, like our government became the HR department of America, and our government was always trying to keep us in line. Meanwhile, it was breaking all the rules, creating Russia collusion, lying about COVID, lying about the origins of COVID, making stuff up like stay 6 feet apart, shutting down businesses who would not force people to show their vaccination cards and show that they had a test. So you see, we also talked today about how In-N-Out Burger is leaving California. And one of the reasons why is because the founder, or not the founder, but one of the heirs to the founder, the family, she said, I'm sick of it. I should have fought harder during COVID. I should have pushed back harder back then, because they would come to us in the San Francisco Board of Health, for example, and they'd say, well, you can't serve people unless they show you their papers. And if they don't have their papers, and you got to demand a negative test within 72 hours, I mean, it's just ridiculousness, right? But then at the same time that they were making all these rules that we had to follow, what were they doing? They were breaking the rules. Were they not? So take Gavin Newsom, for example. If the government is HR, Gavin Newsom, as the head of HR, going to French Laundry when nobody was allowed to go out to dinner, when nobody could go out, he couldn't go out with big groups, was the ultimate HR executive sleeping with the boss. It was the ultimate moment of the HR executive saying, do as I say, not do as I do. Because what I do is whatever I want to do. So if I want to break the rules and sleep with the boss and canoodle at a concert, I can do whatever I want. We're in charge. You people can't. You say the wrong thing at work, you do the wrong thing, you look at somebody the wrong way, you probably get fired. Sexual harassment, you probably have to take a training, another class, you probably have to go to HR counseling. But we can do whatever we want, and you can't. And so when that moment happened on that Jumbotron, it was bigger than just two cheaters getting caught on camera. Although there's a certain amount of schadenfreude with that too. No doubt about it. No doubt. We all love a good schadenfreude. We all kind of like that. It's like, well, thank God, wasn't me. But then again, you could avoid all that by not doing something like that. But it wasn't just a guy and a gal who were engaged in an affair. Like, that would have been one thing, but I don't think it would have gone nearly as viral. I really don't. I think if you had just had a random couple and they both just jumped out of the way, it would have gone viral, but not 100 million views, worldwide, international viral, with the Phillies mascot lampooning that at Friday night's game. You know what I mean? It would not have reached that level. But the fact that it's a CEO and the fact that it's the chief people officer, it was hypocrisy on display after years of us just getting beat down by people who think that they were in charge of us, telling us how to live our lives and what to do and how we were doing it wrong, while they were doing it, they were breaking every rule in the book. And I know it seems kind of like, well, how do you make a leap from that to Russia collusion? Well, very simple, because in all this time, they were lecturing us about, don't post that, don't say something that's not true, don't put out disinformation or misinformation, or we'll put you in Twitter prison or Facebook jail. They were literally putting out misinformation and disinformation about Trump and Russia, the Hunter Biden laptop, and a million other things a million other things. So the HR people were looking at us and what we were saying, and then they were going to the people in charge of the various social media groups and saying, take that person down, put a strike against them, punish them, deplatform them, put them in Twitter jail, but we'll do whatever we want, and we'll put out misinformation, and we'll put out disinformation. And we, as a nation, we hate hypocrisy. We really do. That's the one thing that I think, and this incident, this viral moment on this Coldplay cam, as it's now being called, has united this country, because whether you're on the left or you're on the right, everybody was united in talking about that all weekend. All weekend. Now, there's some people writing stories like, well, this shows you how mean the internet is, and this shows you how toxic the internet is, and this is why, this whole gotcha climate of our country. No, because again, it's not just a guy and a girl. It's not just a man and a woman who were being unfaithful to their respective spouses and who were caught at a concert. It's the fact that it's the CEO and the head of HR. And it's emblematic of this culture in our country where the people who are in charge get away with it and get to do whatever the hell they want. And us plebes who work for them or vote for them or pay our taxes to them get bossed around. We're told what to do, what we can't do, and they keep getting away with it. And there's a certain amount of, in that Schadenfreude, a certain amount of comeuppance and justice too. Like, aha, like finally, you know what I mean? Finally, they got caught. And maybe it's the kind of moment where you go, well, maybe if you didn't have such a situation where there were constantly at workplaces around this country firing people for what they say and making them afraid. Like I was at Costco today, and this nice woman came up to me and said hello, and she's a listener, but she also made a point of saying how they really can't talk about politics here. And I've gone into places before where, I'll meet the owners of a place and they'll say, big fans, but we can't say anything because, we don't want to get, and there's that aspect of it too. It's like you have your beliefs and there's people that come after you and they blast you and they call you names and hateful and bigoted and they put you down and they mock you and they insult you. And because your beliefs are not up to their standards of what they view as good. You know what I mean? Whether it's hanging the Ukraine flag or whether it's the hate has no home here sign or whatever it is, your standards are not good. And they love showing everybody how good they are. Do they not? They love that. They wear that on their sleeve. Like, we're good, you're not. We're good and we know what's best and we're important and you're not. And do what we say. And then you find them breaking the rules. Right? Like the time Jim Kenney went and had lunch in Maryland, even though Philadelphia, you couldn't do that stuff. And he was like, well, and he gave his whole long list of why it was okay for him to do it, but not for somebody else to do it. You know what I mean? But that's the point. It's that these two people caught on this camera weren't just lovebirds who were having an affair. They were the boss and the person who's in charge of firing people and enforcing the rules, breaking the cardinal rule of the workplace, which is sleeping together. And the reason why I know it's the cardinal rule of the workplace is because he's lost his job, he's out, and she may be out too. I don't know if she'll survive this or not. I don't know. But either way, it clearly was not up to the standards of the company. So the same people that tell you what the standards are violate the standards. Like if you would ask them that day, hey, is it okay if the CEO and the director of human resources were having an illicit affair? They would both say no. They would say absolutely not. It violates our tenets of who we are and our core beliefs and our philosophies. It's like, when those companies write their stupid mission statements of who we are as people, and they write their whole thing out, and then you go, okay, this is a bunch of woke nonsense. You know what I mean? And you go, what is this? It's that very thing. It's that virtue signaling. And then all of a sudden, they get caught doing the thing you're not supposed to do. And everybody goes, oh, wow, you people are hypocrites. Not just for lying to your spouses, not just for having an affair, not that stuff's okay, but there are people that do that and they wind up together and they're happy and life goes on and people forgive and move on. But it's the nature of their relationship in the hierarchy of things that is really what, in my opinion, has made this story have such weight. That and their reactions, of course, their faces and the way they reacted, and they ducked and jumped out of it, thinking that they were smarter than us and they could kind of fool us and everything like that. But it's really that. It's the hierarchy got busted after years and years of so many people being told that the hierarchy was right about everything. And now we look around as the hierarchy has been lying to us about so many different things and breaking its own rules that it imposed upon all of us. And it was doing whatever the hell it wanted the whole time. And these two individuals of a company at a concert became the symbol of that. And that symbol got busted in the ultimate, you're doing what you said we can't do kind of a thing. What you tell other people they can't do. And anybody who's ever had a run in corporate America for saying the wrong thing or posting the wrong thing or not posting something because they were afraid of getting in trouble, or they know exactly what I'm talking about. It's that fear of walking on eggshells. And we as a country have been walking on eggshells. Trump gets elected because he's the exact antithesis of that. He's the guy that says you don't have to walk on eggshells anymore. You say what you want, think what you want, post what you want. I don't care. We're not going to be in the business of going after you and policing you anymore. And that was a gigantic sigh of relief to people. And one of the reasons why he won, because people had it. And then also, too, companies would have to engage and force employees to engage in lies. So things like, well, at this place, we value things like, how we'll have bathrooms for non-binary. We'll put our pronouns in the, you know what I mean? Like your pronouns in the email signature line, and the corporation mandates that. We'll tell you the bathroom has to be transgender, and you have to live this lie. And if you don't live this lie, you're not living our corporate values. And then every June we're going to hang rainbow flags, and we're going to virtue signal and show how woke we are, and we're going to do all these things. But really what we're doing is we're just trying to blur your attention away from the fact that, like, the CEO is getting paid $70 million a year, with his bonuses and his incentives and everything like this, from a base salary of a couple $100,000. And the people in the mailroom are making $15 an hour, so we'll virtue signal about all these things. So you don't really notice the hierarchy and how different it is in corporate America, for example. And it's kind of the same thing with our elected officials too, which is why we also love when our elected officials get caught doing sleazy things, because they'll go to Congress and make $1.75 a year and end up being multimillionaires. And we go, I don't understand this. How come that's like, we're all getting by. We're trying to get by. You people go to Washington, you're suddenly now multimillionaires. How does that work? Well, we know how it works because they play the game, the inside game. They get the access to the information we don't get. And so for that reason, they all wind up cashing in. And the rest of us, poor slobs, we just keep struggling on, trying to figure out how we can get by day to day. And we go, it's not fair. And it isn't fair. It is not fair. And so you have this couple that gets caught on camera. Everybody goes, oh my gosh. It becomes a fun viral thing. And then you realize, wow, this is bigger than this. This is symbolic. This is symbolic of a country where the people in charge make the rules the rest of us all have to follow, while they're constantly breaking the rules that we all have to follow. And there's repercussions for us. And they never seem to have repercussions. And so suddenly when they do have repercussions, there's kind of a part in us that feels a sense of satisfaction, where you feel bad for the kids who were involved, and you feel bad for the other spouses who were involved, because, now their names are known too, and they didn't do anything wrong, but they just happened to get swept up in all this. But the fact that there's some sort of justice in the universe, I guess, for the people at the top who have probably over the years told other people what they can say and can't say in the workplace and do and not do in the workplace. Meanwhile, they're violating the ultimate rules. It's so emblematic of America. Bigger than that, bigger than just that moment. And yet, uniting our country around memes, and pictures, and people mocking it, and people coming together on the right and the left to just have a laugh at their expense. And does that make us bad people? No, because like I said, we have been so kicked around all these years and told that what we were saying and what we were doing was inappropriate, who we were backing for office was inappropriate. And then we find out that the people at the top were lying about everything. I mean, literally everything. This weekend, it was two stories. Tulsi Gabbard out there talking about how the previous administration literally manufactured intelligence to create Russia collusion when it never existed, and then spent years and years and $100 million of our tax dollars to push this narrative. And the other issue was this couple caught on this kiss cam. And I don't think it's a coincidence. I really don't. I think the reason why these two stories both grabbed everybody's attention over the weekend was exactly that. It's like the people who have been telling us that we were wrong and they had to police us and police our speech and police our actions. And we know that they were the ones who were breaking the rules the whole time. Maybe finally the universe is handing out some justice. 855-839-1210 on X at Rich Zeoli. If you'd like to weigh in today, I want to tell you our event with Gianno Caldwell is in less than 2 weeks, and I'm really excited about it. He's a great guy. He's a great Fox News contributor. He's got a great story to tell about how his brother was murdered, and we're going to talk about crime in America, the state of our politics in America. Well, he's a black conservative. President Trump endorsed his book. We're going to talk about that, how Trump's done so well with black voters in this country. We'll have a great time, and I want to see you there. And to get your tickets, go to 1210wphd.com today and do it now. 1210wphd.com. Don't miss out. It's going to be a great time, a great event. Me and Gianno Caldwell, it's Thursday, July 31st, Bucks County Community College, Zlock Performing Arts Center. You don't want to miss this one. We'll have laughs. We'll talk about some real heartfelt stories. It'll be a night to remember. Our Politics and Pints, 1210wphd.com.